Tonight's episode includes a Manta Sleep affiliate link, which helps support the show at no extra cost to you. If you've ever tried sleeping with a regular sleep mask and found that light still gets in around the edges, or the mask presses against your eyes and just feels uncomfortable, Manta Sleep takes a different approach. Their masks are designed to give you a true blackout experience while keeping pressure off your eyes, so you can actually relax and forget you're wearing one. They also have several different versions depending on how you sleep, and one of the coolest is their Bluetooth audio sleep mask. It combines the blackout mask with built-in audio so you can listen to music, white noise, or even your favorite sleep stories without having earbuds in your ears all night. And for a podcast like this, that combination just makes sense. Block out the light, put on a story, and let everything else disappear for a while. If you're looking to upgrade your nighttime routine, check out Manta Sleep and find the mask that works best for you. You can find a direct link to them in the description of each episode. They also ship worldwide. Thanks for supporting the show. Now, let's get started.
Welcome to Deep Sleep Stories, where the evening grows soft, the body grows heavy, and the mind is invited to drift beyond the busy edges of the day. Tonight you will be carried to a quiet balcony at sunset where swallows sing over a hidden garden, and the last light of the sky seems to remember a gentle magic. Settle in now, wherever you are. Let the room around you become still. Let your shoulders loosen as though a warm shawl has been laid across them. Allow your hands to rest without needing to hold anything. Let your breath come slowly, easily, like a small tide, moving in and moving out along a moonlit shore. With every inhale, there is space. With every exhale, there is release. The thoughts of the day may still be near, fluttering at the edges like leaves in a courtyard, but they do not need your attention. They can drift away on their own. There is nothing to solve here, nothing to hurry, nothing to carry. Imagine the air becoming faintly golden as though sunset has entered the room. It touches the walls softly, rests on the blankets, and quiets every corner. Somewhere far away, beyond roofs and trees and sleepy hills, a balcony waits in the evening light. It is old and beautiful, made of pale stone, warmed by centuries of sunsets. Around it, vines have climbed and flowered, and above it, swallows arc through the sky, singing their delicate twilight songs. And as the breath becomes slower and the body becomes more comfortable, the story begins to unfold on its own. There was once a traveler who arrived at a hilltop village just as the day was beginning to close. The village was small, built of honey-colored stone with narrow lanes that curved gently between houses whose shutters had been painted blue and green by hands that loved patient work. Clay pots of lavender stood beside doorways. Rosemary grew in cracks between steps. High above the rooftops, the sky opened wide and luminous, brushed with apricot, rose, and the deepening blue that comes before night. The traveler had not come in search of anything grand. There were no urgent errands, no heavy questions. For many days they had followed quiet roads through orchards and fields, resting when they wished, walking when the air felt kind, and listening to the way each place had its own small music. The hilltop village had called to them from a distance. its bell tower catching the late sun like a candle flame. So they had climbed the winding path, past fig trees and dry grasses, until the stones beneath their feet became smooth and cool. At the village gate, an elderly woman sat beneath an arch of pale jasmine, shelling peas into a wooden bowl. Her hair was silver and pinned loosely at the back of her neck, and her eyes held the calm brightness of someone who had watched many seasons come and go. She greeted the traveler as though they had been expected. "You have arrived at the hour of the swallows," she said, nodding toward the sky. The traveler looked upward. A flock of swallows moved above the village in effortless loops, their wings dark and graceful against the gold. Their calls were light, quick, and silvery, weaving through the evening like threads of sound. Some skimmed near the rooftops, others rose high, then dipped again, as if drawing invisible patterns in the air. The elderly woman smiled. "There is a balcony on the old eastern house," she said. "People say the swallows sing there more sweetly than anywhere else. It faces the sunset, though it looks east. That is one of its little mysteries." She pointed down a lane where the stones glowed pink in the lowering light. The traveler thanked her and followed the path. The lane turned once, then again. It passed under hanging baskets of small white flowers and beside a fountain where clear water trickled from the mouth of a stone fish into a basin furred with moss. A cat slept on a windowsill. Somewhere indoors, bread was being set upon a table. The scent of warm crust, thyme, and evening dust mingled in the air. At the end of the lane stood the old eastern house. It was taller than the others, though not proudly so. It seemed to rise quietly from the hill itself, with walls the color of cream and faded gold. Its roof tiles were red and uneven, softened by lichen. Long vines wrapped around its corners, their leaves green and dusky, their tiny flowers glowing in the sunset like drops of honey. Above the second floor, suspended over a garden hidden from the lane, was the balcony. The balcony had a curved stone railing carved with leaves, stars, and small birds in flight. Along its edge grew pots of basil, moonflower, and trailing ivy. At either side stood slender columns worn smooth by wind. The whole place looked as though it had been waiting quietly for the traveler, not with impatience, but with the serene certainty that some meetings happen exactly when they should. The door of the house opened before the traveler could knock. A young caretaker appeared, carrying a small brass lamp. They had kind eyes and moved with the gentle care of someone who lived in conversation with old wood, old stone, and the hush of rooms. They welcomed the traveler in and led them through a cool hall where the floor tiles showed patterns of bluebirds and silver leaves. Inside, the house smelled faintly of beeswax, dried flowers, and the sea, though the sea was many miles away. The rooms were quiet, with linen curtains moving in the faint evening breeze. On the walls hung paintings of gardens, clouds, and swallows, returning year after year. The caretaker did not say much and did not need to. Their silence had the warmth of a hearth. they climbed a staircase that curved around a central shaft of light. At each landing, a small window looked over a different part of the village, a roof where pigeons settled, a courtyard where someone watered mint, a line of hills already turning violet. At last, the caretaker opened a pair of old glass doors. The balcony lay beyond them, filled with sunset. The traveler stepped out and felt the warmth of the stone beneath their feet. The air was cooler here than in the lane, touched by the altitude of the hill and the coming of evening. Below the balcony spread a garden not visible from the street. It was enclosed by stone walls and planted with pomegranate trees, climbing roses, lavender, pale lilies, and herbs that released their fragrances as the day cooled. A narrow path wound through it, made of flat stones set into moss. At its center stood a round pool, still as polished glass, reflecting a sky that deepened by the moment. And though the balcony faced east, as the woman had said, the sunset was there. It glowed beyond the garden, beyond the far wall, as though the horizon had gently moved to meet the house. The sun hovered low in a band of molten gold, casting light across leaves and petals, across the carved birds on the railing, across the traveler's quiet face. The roofs of the village could not be seen from this side, nor the road, nor the fields. Only the garden, the sky, and the slow descent of light. Then the swallows came. They arrived not all at once, but in graceful turns. One flashed past the balcony with a chirrup, like a bright bead dropped into water. Then another, then 5, then 10. Soon the air above the garden was alive with their movement. They circled the balcony without fear, dipping close to the railing and rising again on slender wings. Their blue-black backs shone where the sun touched them. Their white throats caught the glow. Their tails opened like tiny scissors cutting patterns into the evening. And they sang. It was not a song like that of a nightingale pouring one melody into the dusk. It was a softer, quicker music made of many small notes, trills, clicks, and liquid calls. Yet here on this balcony, their voices gathered into something strangely harmonious. The sound seemed to come from everywhere at once, from the air, from the garden, from the carved stone birds, from the golden seams of cloud. It was lively and gentle together, like rain made of tiny bells. The traveler sat on a cushioned bench beside the railing. The caretaker set the brass lamp on a small table but did not light it yet. There was no need while the sunset remained. They brought a cup of chamomile tea and a plate with figs, soft cheese, and a slice of bread brushed with olive oil. Then they stepped back inside, leaving the glass doors open. For a long while the traveler did nothing but watch. The swallows flew in circles that seemed playful at first, but after a time the traveler noticed a pattern. They did not move randomly. Their paths crossed and parted in a rhythm so subtle that it could only be felt, not counted. One would sweep low over the pool, and the water would tremble. Another would rise toward the highest rose vine and hover for the smallest breath before turning. 3 would pass before the balcony, one after the other, each calling a note that joined the last. As the sun lowered further, the garden changed. Lavender became shadowy and silver. The pomegranate leaves flashed green, then bronze, then almost black at their edges. The lilies seemed to hold a private light within their pale cups. The pool reflected the first evening star, though the sky still glowed with color. The traveler breathed in the mingled scents of herbs, flowers, stone, and cooling earth. The swallows continued singing, and gradually their song seemed to tell a story, not in words, not in anything the traveler's mind could grasp and shape. It was the kind of story that is understood by the body before it is understood by thought, a story of returning, of small wings crossing long distances, of nests under eaves, of summer air and open sky, of dusk arriving, not as an ending, but as a tender gathering. The traveler's eyelids grew heavy, though they did not sleep. They felt held by the balcony, by the garden, by the music of birds that knew the secret ways of evening. When the last edge of the sun touched the horizon, the carved swallows in the railing began to glow. At first it was only a trick of the light. The traveler thought the sunset had caught the stone at a certain angle, but then one carved wing shimmered with a pearly sheen. Another brightened from within, as if moonlight had been poured through the stone. Along the railing, every carved bird slowly awakened into a soft, luminous outline. Their tiny eyes shone like drops of dew. The real swallows in the air did not seem surprised. They circled more slowly now, singing with a lower sweetness. The garden hushed. Even the fountain beneath the balcony seemed to quiet its trickle, as though listening. A breeze moved through the vines, and the traveler heard a voice. It was very soft, not quite human, not quite bird. It seemed to be made of air passing through leaves, of distant water, of the faintest chime of the first star. "Rest," the voice said. The traveler did not feel afraid. The word was so gentle, so simple, that it sank into the evening like a seed into warm soil. "Rest," said the voice again, and this time it seemed to come from the glowing birds in the railing, from the swallows above, and from the garden below. "All who arrive at sunset may set down what they have carried." The traveler looked to their side and saw, resting on the bench, a small bundle they had not noticed before. It was wrapped in plain cloth and tied with a faded ribbon. Somehow they knew it belonged to them, not a bundle of clothes or food or anything seen by ordinary eyes. It was made of worries collected along the road, little stones of unfinished thoughts, dry leaves of old memories, knots of questions that had once seemed important. The traveler touched the bundle. It was lighter than expected. The swallows sang on. Their wings stitched the air with patient grace. The glowing carvings watched without judgment, as kind as old friends. The traveler untied the ribbon. Inside the cloth, there was no darkness, only a handful of small, dull pebbles, each one holding a whisper of something once held too tightly. The traveler lifted the first pebble and placed it on the railing. A swallow passed close, and its wing brushed the air above the pebble. At once, the stones softened into a speck of light and drifted upward, becoming part of the sky. One by one, the traveler placed the pebbles on the railing. A worry about tomorrow became a pale moth of light. A memory of a hurried farewell dissolved into the scent of lavender. A question with no answer turned into a ripple across the pool. A tiredness from walking too long became warmth in the stone beneath the traveler's feet. Nothing was forced, nothing was taken. Each small burden changed only when it was ready, and each change was quiet. By the time the cloth lay empty, the sun had slipped away. The sky had become a deep, tender blue. Along the horizon, a thin band of rose remained, fading slowly into violet. The first stars looked down. The carved birds no longer glowed brightly, but held a soft shimmer at their edges. The real swallows began to settle beneath the eaves of the old house, where small nests had been built in sheltered corners. Their song softened into murmurs. The caretaker returned and lit the brass lamp. Its flame was small and steady. It cast a circle of warm light over the table, the empty cup, and the traveler's hands. They did not ask what had happened. Perhaps they knew. Perhaps everyone who tended the old Eastern house understood the balcony's kindness. Some evenings, the caretaker said, the swallows remember the songs of every place they have flown over. Mountains, rivers, orchard valleys, cities at dawn, empty fields. They bring those songs here and let them rest in the garden. The traveler looked down at the pool. The water now reflected stars and the faint outline of passing wings. "Why here?" the traveler asked. The caretaker smiled. "Because this balcony listens." The answer seemed complete. A little later, the caretaker brought a woven blanket and placed it around the traveler's shoulders. The air had cooled, but not sharply. It was the kind of coolness that makes warmth feel more precious. In the garden, night flowers began to open. Their fragrance rose slowly, creamy and sweet, mingling with basil and damp moss. Somewhere beyond the walls, a bell rang once, then faded. The traveler might have gone inside to sleep, but the balcony held such peace that leaving felt unnecessary. The caretaker understood. They arranged cushions on the long bench, lowered the lamp until its light became drowsy, and wished the traveler a restful evening before stepping away. The traveler reclined beneath the blanket and watched the sky. The swallows were mostly quiet now, tucked near one another in their nests, their feathers fluffed against the night. Yet from time to time one would stir and release a soft note as if singing in a dream. The balcony answered with silence, deep and tender. Below, the garden seemed to breathe. Leaves shifted. Water made slow circles in the pool. The lilies shone faintly. The pomegranate trees stood like patient guardians. Their branches curved toward the night. Above them all, the stars emerged more fully one by one, until the sky was scattered with gentle fire. As the traveler rested, a dream began before sleep had fully arrived. In the dream, the balcony loosened from the house. not with any breaking or fear, but as a leaf loosens from a branch when autumn calls, it floated outward over the garden, carried by the swallow's sleeping song. The stone was weightless, the railing glimmered, the brass lamp flame leaned calmly in the breeze. The balcony drifted above the village. The traveler saw rooftops silvered by starlight, courtyards filled with potted herbs, and windows glowing softly where families prepared for sleep. The fountain in the lane was a small mirror. The jasmine at the gate hung pale and fragrant. The elderly woman's wooden bowl rested empty beside her chair. Then the balcony floated beyond the village wall and over the hillside path. The grasses below moved like water. Olive trees lifted their dusty leaves. The road the traveler had walked by day now looked like a ribbon laid across the earth by a loving hand. The swallows flew around the balcony, though they were asleep in their nests at the same time. For dreams are spacious enough to allow such things. Their song gathered beneath the balcony and lifted it higher. It passed over orchards where pears hung heavy in the dark, over fields where wildflowers had folded themselves closed, over a stream that carried pieces of starlight between stones. The traveler felt no need to speak or move. They simply watched as the world below became calm and small and beloved. Far away, a range of mountains rose beneath the moon. Their peaks held snow that glowed like quiet thought. The balcony did not hurry toward them, but drifted in their direction, slow as a cloud. The air grew clearer. The stars seemed nearer. The swallows sang of distance without loneliness, of journeys without strain, of the sweet certainty of returning. At the foot of the mountains there was a lake. Its surface was perfectly still, reflecting the sky so completely that the balcony seemed to float between two heavens. The swallows dipped toward the water, and wherever their wings nearly touched it, circles of light spread outward. In the center of the lake stood a small island with a single tree. The tree was old and graceful, its branches full of silver leaves. Beneath it was another balcony, smaller than the first, made not of stone, but of woven moonlight. On that balcony sat all the sunsets that had ever faded from the old Eastern house. They were not gone after all. They rested there like folded silks, gold, rose, amber, lavender, and blue. The traveler understood in the soft way of dreams why the eastern balcony could face sunset. Each evening when the sun left the visible world, the swallows carried its last glow to the hidden lake, and from there the lake sent it back through secret paths of air and memory to the balcony that knew how to listen. Sunset was not only in the west, it lived wherever there was enough stillness to receive it. The balcony hovered above the lake for a long, peaceful moment. The traveler felt the blanket around their shoulders, though in the dream it was made of warm dusk. The swallows circled gently. The silver tree sighed. Then from the folded sunsets on the moonlit balcony, one small ribbon of golden light rose into the air. It drifted toward the traveler and settled over their heart, weightless and warm, It did not ask to be remembered, it only offered itself as comfort. The traveler breathed, and the light became part of that breath. The journey back was slower still. The mountains lowered behind them, the fields returned. The road reappeared, then the hill, then the village, with its sleeping roofs. The balcony settled once more into its place, on the old eastern house so softly that not a single ivy leaf trembled. The traveler opened their eyes. The brass lamp had burned low. The garden was quiet. Dawn was not yet near, but the deepest part of night had arrived, blue and kind. The dream lingered like the scent of flowers after passing through a garden gate. The traveler did not try to hold it. They let it rest beside them. From beneath the eaves came one swallow's drowsy chirp. The traveler smiled, then closed their eyes again. Inside the house, the caretaker moved quietly through the rooms, placing fresh water by a bedside that might or might not be used, folding a linen cloth, closing a window where the night air had grown cool. They paused by the glass doors and saw the traveler asleep on the balcony bench, wrapped in the woven blanket, face peaceful in the faint starlight. The caretaker did not wake them. They only drew one curtain halfway across the doors, so the lamplight would not trouble the night. Then they left the balcony to the swallows, the stars, and the breathing garden. As the hours passed, the village slept. The cat on the windowsill curled into a deeper circle. The fountain continued its patient song, lavender silvered beneath the moon. Somewhere in the old stone walls, warmth from the day slowly faded, not disappearing, but sinking inward, saved for morning. The traveler slept without dreams for a time, held in a quiet so complete it felt like floating. No road called, no question stirred. The body rested, the mind softened. The heart, no longer carrying its little bundle of pebbles, lay open and calm beneath the golden ribbon of sunset light. Near morning, before the first pale edge of dawn, the swallows woke. They did not burst into song all at once. First came a rustle, then a tiny call, then another, soft and questioning. The sky was still dark, but something had changed in the air. A cool freshness moved through the garden. The lilies bowed. The pool reflected not stars now, but the faintest gray-blue promise of day. The traveler remained asleep as the swallows slipped from their nests. One by one, they entered the air. Their wings made no sound. They circled the balcony in the hush. Before sunrise, and their morning voices were quieter than their evening song, as though they did not wish to disturb anyone who still wandered through sleep. They sang a blessing around the traveler. It was a small blessing made of simple things: a safe road, a light heart, bread when hungry, shade when warm, a kind word at the right moment, a place to rest whenever rest was needed. The blessing settled over the blanket, over the traveler's brow, over the empty cloth bundle folded beside the bench. Then the eastern sky brightened. The balcony, being eastern after all, welcomed the first light. It came softly over the garden wall, touching the pool, the mossy path, The pomegranate leaves, the carved stone birds. The sunset magic had faded, but not vanished. It had become part of the morning's calm. The traveler, still sleeping, turned slightly toward the warmth. When they woke at last, the village was already stirring. A distant door opened. Water splashed in a basin. Someone laughed softly in a kitchen. The swallows were high overhead now, catching insects in the clean air above the roofs. The caretaker brought tea and warm bread. The traveler sat up slowly, feeling rested in a way that seemed to reach far beneath ordinary tiredness. The garden shone with dew. The carved swallows on the railing looked like simple stone once more, though their wings seemed a little more graceful than before. The traveler thanked the caretaker, and the caretaker bowed their head. "Will the balcony sing again tonight?" the traveler asked. "It sings every evening," the caretaker said, "but each person hears only what they are ready to lay down." The traveler understood. Later, when the sun had risen fully and the village lanes were bright, the traveler prepared to continue along the road. The elderly woman at the gate was there again beneath the jasmine, mending a blue cloth with small, neat stitches. She looked up as the traveler passed and smiled as though she could see the lightness in their steps. "The swallows treated you kindly," she said. "They did," said the traveler. The woman nodded, satisfied. "Then you will know where to find rest, even when you are far from here." The traveler looked back once. From the gate, the old eastern house was mostly hidden by roofs and vines, but the top of the balcony could just be seen, pale against the morning, a swallow perched upon the railing. For a moment it seemed to look directly at the traveler. Then it lifted into the air and vanished into sunlight. The traveler walked down the hill, not hurrying. The road ahead curved between fields and orchards, and beyond that toward places not yet known. But something had changed. The traveler no longer felt that rest belonged only to inns, beds, or certain quiet rooms. Rest could be carried gently inside. It could be found in one slow breath, in the sound of wings, in the memory of a balcony that listened. And as the day opened, the golden ribbon of sunset light remained near the traveler's heart, unseen but warm. Now the story grows softer. The balcony is quiet again. The garden is dim and fragrant. The swallows have folded their wings beneath the eaves, and the sky above them deepens into a calm, endless blue. The traveler rests. The old house rests. The village on the hill rests. Even the fountain seems to dream as it pours its little stream into the mossy basin. And perhaps, somewhere within your own breath, there is a balcony too. A peaceful place where the light is gentle, where the air is kind, where every thought may arrive and soften, then drift away. Nothing needs to be held. Nothing needs to be finished. The evening has gathered everything tenderly. Let the body become heavier now. Let the face smooth. Let the jaw loosen. Let the hands rest. Let the breath move in and out like swallows crossing a quiet sky. The sunset has faded, but its warmth remains. The song has softened, but its comfort remains. The road can wait until morning. For now there is only the balcony, the sleeping garden, and the hush of wings beneath the stars. Good night, dear traveler. Sleep well